And hopefully along the way you'll get some great photos for yourself to take home with you, and some good stories to take home to your friends and family. Now, we're going to get started with the first chapter of our book. And for this, we need to take a look here to the right-hand side, this white building with the clock tower. That, of course, is the iconic Wrigley Building. It's named after William M. Wrigley Jr. of the Chewing Gum Company. This here was their original headquarters, Juicy Fruit Chewing Gum. That's right. Now, the South Tower here was completed in 1921 with the expansion of the North Tower in 1924 by architecture firm Graham Anderson, Probst & White. It's actually a good introduction to that architecture firm, as we'll be seeing a lot of their works along the river today. Now, the style that we're seeing here is known as Spanish Revival architecture. Quite simply, leading up until the 1920s, Chicago was still finding its architectural identity of sorts. And so up until that point, we were taking styles from other places and then bringing it right here to Chicago for ourselves. Now, the exterior here, you can notice about 250,000 terracotta clay tiles in 6 different shades of white. Now, as we continue on, we're going to be seeing the second tallest skyscraper in Chicago. Of course, it is Trump International Hotel and Tower. It stands at 1,388 feet tall. Now, Trump Tower is an excellent example of a style known as contextualism. We'll see a couple of examples of contextualism along the river today. But essentially, contextualism is all about complementing your surroundings through architecture. And we can actually observe how Trump Tower does this, with not 1, not 2, but 3 setback patios, which each match the height of surrounding buildings. Now you can notice how this first balcony is right in line with the Wrigley Building. The second there, well, the closest thing that we have to compare it to is the Jewelers Building, complementing the architecture that came before it. This is not one that you see every tour here. The L train passing right upon us here. This is the Brown Line train. It's leaving kind of north right now. Anyone know why it's called the L trains? Because the trains are elevated off the ground. Anyone know why it's called the loop? The trains make a big loop around downtown, so it makes it easy to remember for us. All right, we're going to stick with this Art Deco style here. Take a look to the right. This is the Merchandise Mart, a very iconic structure, the original home of Marshall Field and Company when it was fully complete in 1930. This is actually a good encapsulation of Art Deco as a whole. Some more work by Graham Anderson, this story on my tour, but if you're interested, just look up Dave Matthews Band Chicago. It'll be one of the first things that pops up. This is a fair warning. It's very gross, but you've been warned, just so you know, we're moving right along. Now, just behind it here is the Carroll Avenue Railroad Bridge. It's been here longer than the rest. This is from 1908. It was made a Chicago landmark in 2007, which means it's not going anywhere. It stays up like this for most of the year, except for when they need to perform maintenance on the bridge, at which point it'll be lowered up and down to make sure it's still in full working order. Now, it's a great visual for how all the bridges function here in Chicago. Trunnion Bastille bridges, 37 of them along the river. Look just right back here. You can actually see the exposed counterweight. You'll get a good visual as we pass right next to it. You might have seen it on the way in. It's a very large lump of concrete on the back.